What happens in case of a unit holder's death? There's a process in place called transmission. If there are multiple holders, when the first holder passes away, units can be transferred to the second holder, and in case of a single unit holder's demise, the units can be transmitted to the nominee or legal heir. If the deceased had made the mutual fund investments through a broker, mutual fund distributor, or any other intermediary, the survivors can take help of the intermediary. And what happens when the survivors have no idea about the investments of the deceased? Yes, there is a chance this could happen. The two popular RTAs, Registrar and Transfer Agents, CAMS and K-Fintech, help investors with KYC documentation and change of personal details. So to start the transmission process, survivors first need the details of all of the investments of the deceased, and to obtain that, they have to have access to the deceased's email or phone number, because at multiple occasions OTPs are sent to the registered email address or phone number. Similarly, to obtain the details of mutual fund holdings of the deceased across different fund houses, survivors can generate a CAS, Consolidated Account Statement, through the website of any RTA. These are the details that you can get from the CAS. Number 1, list of all mutual fund investments with the fund and scheme name. Number 2, folio numbers of each investment. However, the transmission process also requires some other details which cannot be provided in the CAS. For example, the names of primary holder, joint holder, and nominee for each investment. Number 2, details of the bank account linked to each investment. In case the survivors or joint holders are not aware of these details, they will have to put in some additional efforts. Using the deceased PAN card number and access to their email address or mobile, the survivor will have to individually visit the websites of each fund house in which the investments have been made and procure these details. The next step is to visit the CAMS or K-Fintech website and download the necessary forms from the transmission section. Then the survivors need to prepare a file of all the filled forms and supporting documents for each fund house. It is important to keep in mind the quantum of investments, as the list of supporting documents differs depending on the size of investment and the joint holders or nominees appointed by the deceased. Here's what you need to do in addition to all that I have mentioned, along with the filled form: an original death certificate or a copy of the attested death certificate, which are required for all transmissions, and depending on the situation, bank mandate, cancelled check, PAN card of joint holder or nominee, and further supporting documents may also be required. After preparing a separate document of transmission form and supporting documents for each fund house, the survivors must submit it to the nearest CAMS or K-Fintech service center. Post the submission, the fund houses can take 5 to 10 working days to process the request. Now let's say the survivors have no access to the deceased email address or phone number. What happens then? In such cases, the process is longer. The first thing the survivors need to do is visit the nearest CAMS or K-Fintech service center along with the PAN card and death certificate of the deceased. They may also be required to furnish some proof that they are the legal nominees or survivors of the deceased. On visiting the service center, they will be able to not only procure the necessary details of investments, but will also be provided the forms that need to be filled and submitted for transmission of mutual fund investments.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.